Every kid knows what they want to be when they grow up. When you're a kid, you've got that candy cane colored, anything is possible, almost dreamlike view of the world. Some kids want to be astronauts, others firefighters. Me, I was dramatic. I wanted to be an actress. I fantasized about it every day. Never mind that I lacked the requisite talent or parental support. This was my dream. And in that fantasy of fantasies, that deepest desire back when reality and limits didn't exist, I was a supporting actress. A second fiddle to a Lindsay Lohan or a Hilary Duff. I was never practicing any acceptance speeches. Deepest Dreams Tara was never up for any awards. In my wildest, most unattainable hopes, I was a sidekick. I've thought about this a lot in the years since. I keep coming back to the sad realization that as an ambitious child with a huge imagination, I couldn't see myself as more than a supporting player in my own fantasy. Why couldn't I? Well, because the heroines in the TV shows and movies that I watched growing up weren't little brown girls. And without that model, I couldn't even dream of it. Today, I'm here to talk to you about how deeply entertainment permeates our culture. It impacts everything, from what we think about ourselves to what we think about others. And most powerfully of all, it can actually impact what we do. It's an incredible tool. And as a student of public policy, I think it's time we used it for social change. Now, I want to acknowledge that entertainment has come a long way since I was a kid. Not just in terms of the representation we see on screens, but also in terms of the kinds of content we consume. For the purposes of today's talk, I'm defining entertainment as the content that has and continues to define the cultural zeitgeist: film and television. Now, first and foremost, this entertainment impacts what we think about ourselves and what we believe we can achieve more broadly. The most prominent example of this is known as the Scully effect. Let me take you back. The year is 1996, and The X-Files is one of the most popular shows on television. If you didn't watch it, it's kind of mystery, Criminal Minds with aliens. For some reason, it's a huge success. Now, the star of that show is Gillian Anderson. Some of you may know her as Margaret Thatcher on Netflix's The Crown. But back then, she was Dr. Dana Scully, medical doctor, hyper-competent scientist, and one of the first prominent examples of a female scientist on a major TV show. And guess what? Among women who watch the show, Dr. Scully's prominence can be directly linked to an increase in the desirability of STEM careers. A 43% increase, to be exact. 43%. Entertainment can fundamentally impact what we believe we can achieve. Now, how many women on boards have you seen represented in entertainment? How many minority CEOs? It begs the question, how much is entertainment reflecting the sad realities of the world we live in? And how much is it perpetuating the status quo? The Scully effect shows us that diversity and representation is genuinely important, not just because what we see on screens should reflect the world we live in, but because it can actually impact what we believe we're capable of. Second, entertainment doesn't just impact what we think about ourselves, it impacts what we think about others. Now, what we think about others is directly tied to our empathy for others. And this is something progressive politicians are very familiar with. They're trying to convince voters to care about people that they might not have a lot in common with. Someone, for example, like an undocumented immigrant. But politicians are failing to build this empathy in the 30-second sound bites they have our attention for. And even when we are listening, our trust in politicians is at a historic low. So, if not from politicians, where can this empathy come from? Well, surprisingly, entertainment may provide a key. The organization Define American studied the television show Superstore on NBC. It features a wide range of characters, including Mateo, an undocumented immigrant. You grow to know and love him over the course of the show, but eventually the narrative turns. Mateo is taken by ICE for deportation. Define American found that nearly half of the people who watched this storyline said they would take more pro-immigrant related actions as a result, including advocating to family and friends. That means the night this show aired, nearly 500,000 conversations across the US about immigration took place as a direct result of Mateo's storyline. Entertainment can fundamentally change how we feel about other people. And lastly, most powerfully of all, entertainment can actually impact what we do. Now, one of the things we as Americans do, or rather don't do, is register to donate our organs in the event of a tragedy. There's over 100,000 Americans currently in need of a donated organ, and yet less than half of the US population is a registered organ donor. It's a politically sensitive issue, difficult to legally mandate, but without that requirement, how can we solve the issue? Well, it should come as no surprise that here again, entertainment can provide a key. The Hollywood Health and Society Initiative at USC did a study of 4 prominent TV shows with organ donation storylines: CSI New York, Numbers, House, and Grey's Anatomy. They found viewers who were not registered organ donors were more likely to actively choose to become organ donors if the storyline encouraged donation. That's a big deal. And this change in behavior isn't just limited to organ donations. Indian soap operas led to a reduction in misogynistic preferences for sons. US medical dramas led to an increase in breast cancer screening. And entertainment has even proven to increase vaccination rates. So, entertainment impacts what we think about ourselves, what we think about others, and even what we do. It can even step in where public policymakers are failing. But lastly, I want to take a moment to acknowledge what's at stake here. Entertainment has the power to do a lot of good. It also risks doing a lot of harm. The most infamous example of this is the 1915 film, The Birth of a Nation, a racist film depicting the Civil War and Reconstruction that directly led to the resurgence of the KKK. There are more modern examples as well. Color of Change found that popular crime shows directly led to a normalization of racial injustice in this country. And the Netflix show, 13 Reasons Why, has been found to lead to a 30% spike in teenage suicides following the premiere. Entertainment is beholden to the studios and creatives who develop this content. There's a lot at stake if they get this wrong. But they, in turn, are beholden to us, you and me, the content consumers, and how we choose to spend our money. So, what do I want you to take away from this? Well, first, I want you to recognize the power entertainment has over you. Whether you're a policymaker, you're in the industry, or you just watch Netflix on a Sunday night, I want you to ask yourself whether what you're watching is reflecting the realities of the world we live in, or better yet, if it's pushing the envelope and showing you a world to aspire to. But most importantly of all, I want you to invest in the power of entertainment for social change. Whether it's a direct investment in an organization like Color of Change or Define American, or just an investment with the kinds of films and TV you choose to purchase and watch. Entertainment is powerful. We all want to live in a world with more women in STEM, more empathy for immigrants, more organ donors, and yes, more brown girls on the big screen. I hope you'll join me in pushing towards this goal.